Good day, everybody, and welcome again to the Thought Leadership Program from Acies Innovations. Today, I'm kind of excited to have Faiz with us, and Faiz, many of you know, is a director with Acies Innovation Singapore, and he's kind of well known in the international community as well as in the local community here in Singapore. Faiz plays an integral part in the KM Global Network, as well as he is the Vice President of the KM Society Singapore. His name is definitely not new when it comes to KM in Singapore, and we are kind of excited to have him share with us today the topic sustainability and knowledge management. So Faiz, good day to you, and handing it over to you for a short introduction, buddy.
All right, thank you so much. Basically, thanks for having me here. I think I'm happy to share a bit on my views on what KM and sustainability is about. And I think it's KM has been around for very long. Sustainability, a bit less, although people have talked about it a bit here and there. You talk about the 3 Ps, the people, planet, profit. You talk about economic sustainability, social as well as environmental. So it's something which I would say it makes sense to put them together because, for me, I just put it simply as they're like 2 hands coming together. Yeah, KM and sustainability. Yeah.
It's been interesting because me and Faiz were talking about the sustainability framework, and we were talking about the UN SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. And our conversation led us to knowledge management, and how do we actually bring knowledge management into the focus of what we have to do. So in your context, why is this so important today?
I think in KM and sustainability, as I said earlier, about 2 hands coming together. Because when we look at the basic human function of decision making, right? Humans, we make good decisions, bad decisions, WTH decisions, raising eyebrow decisions. Decisions can come in many forms, right? But all these things are premised on 2 things actually: knowledge and values, right? Knowledge, basically how you manage your knowledge in terms of helping you to make the decisions. So you create, transfer, apply, store, retrieve knowledge. So that's the whole KM part of it. And the values is the individual, what we hold dear to us, what's important to us. It could be personal, it could be community, and it could be the larger universe, right? And actually, in that sense, it's the 3 Ps: personal, profit, people, community, planet, the whole world. So that's where basically it's KM sustainability comes together, because it's really about how humans make decisions, and decisions that is better for not just ourselves but for the bigger frameline for everyone. And organizations especially need to start paying attention to this, because it will affect them in many ways. And I do know that quite a lot of organizations have started to look at it, but of course they use different terms. They don't call it KM. They call it your resource hub, your intranet, your agile, your scrum, your ESG, even your DEI, right? It's all actually related to all this sustainability and knowledge management. Just different terms, but it's the same thing. Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. I think I had one person explain to me that sustainability and KM had to do with building up a sense-making model, understanding what is the critical knowledge in your organization, and making sure you have that life cycle of how you're going to create the knowledge, store it, thereafter look at its validity, modify, or what we call in our circle co-create new knowledge, and then bring it back up and maintain that no matter who leaves or who comes, because the knowledge has to stay in order for this organization to be successful, right? In your views, right, KM in sustainability, why is it necessary for organizations to pay attention to it right now? Over the last couple of, I'll say maybe the last 1-2 years, especially during this COVID period, we started to hear this a lot, Why do you think it is so important for organizations to pay attention to it now and start if they have not already started?
Yeah. So I guess in a sense, I think it's a whole sense of greater awareness. Not just organizations but people. People are getting, thanks to the internet, social media and so on. I think people have greater awareness of what's going on, right? Be it climate change, be it politics of things, or things that's happening out there, right? And so with this, the manifestation of so much sources of knowledge, right? people are looking for things beyond just the profit themselves. They are looking for things which have more purpose, right? They seeing things which are aligned to their own values and their own beliefs and what they want to do, right? And that's the part where organizations, if they are not mindful, they will lose the people, and that's where KM comes in, right? See, the thing is that people talk about the Great Resignation, right? And what's causing this Great Resignation? You wonder, right? It's actually really the misalignment of people and organizations, because organizations, they are slightly a bit slower, most of them, because they're still focused on the profit part of it. The focus on the people, on the planet is still not there. Of course, they're catching up now because they're losing all these people. But see, the thing is, they really need to catch up on that part. KM, part of it is the fact that organizations need KM to be able to, one is to harness the information and knowledge that resides within the organization. We know now that basically organizations, they tend to focus on the final outcome, your bottom line, call it triple bottom line or whatever, right? But then they tend to forget the process, the journey there, right? And the journey is where people make mistakes, where they learn a lot of things, they lose millions of dollars, but because of that, they are wiser, right? The thing is that they don't capture this, and that's where KM is important, where they can capture this information and bring it not just residing within the people that works within the organization, but in the institution itself, right? And then it becomes like the whole culture. There is one is the repository of it, but also the culture of sharing, storing, and reusing. And that's the part where organizations are still far behind. And if they do want to make sure that they continue to be relevant and sustainable, that they need to kind of bring these two things together: the idea of being purposeful as well as knowledge management. Because people also will shift. People have different goals, different dreams. They won't stay with you for their whole career. That's just kind of very odd nowadays, right? So how do organizations make sure that whoever comes to them brings along new knowledge, adds to the organization, and after that they can carry on? It's okay, it doesn't matter to me, right? But the organization in itself grows as an entity, as someone with assets in terms of being able to make the right decisions. Otherwise, what happens is that when there's a turnover, when people leave, new people come in, and the organization has to literally pay from the mistakes that these people will have to make just to arrive at the same level as they were before. Yeah.
I like how you said this thing. If we don't take care of this, of our knowledge within our organization, we create this black hole. The thing that you said, we have to be ready to pay for the mistakes that they are going to make. And I think that's so apt, because one of the biggest or the simplest thing about knowledge management, or one part of it, is the after action review and lesson learned. Recording it is one thing, anybody can record it, but putting it into an aspect of learning from it and making sure that we have countermeasures to actually not go through this experience again, or not go through this mistake again, that's where the value of that after action review is. And you brought it out exactly when you said, if we think this is not important, then you have to be ready to pay, right? For your new staff to make this mistakes again. Now, I think not only in the context of cost and money, but in the context of time, in the context of business opportunity, building that ability to strategize on how you're going to be a learning organization that grows. Again, words that you said earlier, which I really caught, and I thought these are beautiful nuggets of information. Faiz, prior to this journey with us, you were a CEO of an organization, and managing knowledge there as well. Now, when did your sustainability journey begin? Since I've known you, I know you've always had a bit of sustainability thoughts in you, and you always talk about it has to be, whatever we do have to be beyond us. After we leave, it still has to go on. I just want to peek into your previous life. When did such thoughts come into your mind, and what are some of the strategies that you used then? Before I ask you the next question, which is, what are some of the strategies that organizations can use now to embark on sustainability?
I think the key thing that I started with back then, right, is looking at the simple question is, what will help us make better decisions? What will help us be in a better position where we make decisions which are informed, right? And that was the crux of it, right? And that's where we said, okay, I need to know A, B, C, D, right? And that's where we said, okay, we need to start capturing insights there, right? Because these are things which are critical to what we do day to day, right? And then it evolves, and of course, on day one, when you decided on A, B, C, D, you realize, I don't actually need A, B, C, D. I need X, Y, Z, right? Because there's a deeper level, and there's that level of iteration that happens, right? For you to distill exactly what are the information, the knowledge, the insights that we need to make sure that our decisions that we make are informed. And then when we make those informed decisions, the outcomes of it will bring you to the next level, your A1, your B1, your C1. And it's the whole iterative process of looking at how we manage knowledge. It's not just about restoring. I can just store this is what we do, what is what we did in the past. But really, okay, based on what we did in the past, this is what we do now. And so what's the outcome? What's the learning point? Okay, and so this is our new plan. I think that's the part that I focused on previously, and it also, the key part of it is who will be the drivers of it, right? Who will be your ambassadors that keeps this going? Because it cannot be dependent on one individual. It has to be dependent. Everyone has to play the part, and everyone sees the value of it when you make decisions, when you report to your stakeholders and so on. So that's, I thought, was the most critical thing, and it was very I'll say I think we achieved quite a bit back then, right? In terms of being informed, being able to help us make better decisions going ahead, right? I guess moving ahead now, in terms of strategies that people look in terms of sustainability, right? I guess the big challenge that people always say, I got data, I got this, I got that, and everything, right? Then I was like, okay, so you give me all these reports. So when was the last time you read them? When was the last time that you actually took reference from them to make a decision, right? And that was most critical for me, because the thing is, having tons of knowledge, a library, a storeroom, people rent storage spaces just to keep their files and everything, right? Doesn't make a difference, doesn't add value, right? It's not life, right? And in this age where there's so much disruption, right, you need to have data which is live, which actually helps us to inform us. We make such an action, this is the outcome, and then we adjust accordingly, right? So in terms of sustainability of KM, I think the key drivers of it, first of all, is people, right? You must have a certain mindset towards knowledge, right? It's not just, I just drive for the outcome. No, go for the end goal that you want to achieve, the profits and everything, right? But you also have to look at the journey towards it, right? And then be able to capture certain data points. Obviously, you won't use all of it, right? With time, you realize that certain information or certain knowledge is more important than others, right? And you evolve it. So that's the people portion, to create that culture of basically being very insight driven, and also being very purposeful in terms of basically how we use knowledge, and then moving ahead. So the people portion is that. The second portion of it, I would say, is a bit to do with technology, right? Technology which helps us to make better decisions. So they talk about AI, artificial intelligence, but I will see it as more augmented intelligence. How does intelligence augment our decision-making process, right? And therefore, it has to work for us, right? I just read this article about basically knowledge management and sustainability, right? This is a great article. It talks about how it interlinked the growth over the years and so on, right? And that's a good example of how technology helps you to look at correlations, things which are of interest, things which are basically something which we can do a bit more research on and so on, right? But in the end, it's really how you make use of the insight, right? And how it lends itself towards the the goals of the organization, right? So yeah, that's the bit gist, one of the ideas that I have in terms of how people can look at terms of strategy, people part and the technology part.
Thanks, Faiz. The thing that you talked about, the drivers, we have to find out what's the drivers. And a lot of organizations, I know they always say that, yeah, we have to find a driver to drive this effort. We have to find this. And I always tell them the context of a bus. I say, you have a bus, you have a KM strategy. You have a driver, you have a person who's pushing it. Now, if you don't have passengers, you're not going to make any money. And your passengers are actually your internal and your external customers, be it your staff, like what you said, and the people that you serve. So, your customers, right? Your actual customers, those who are going to bring you that either bring you money or bring you purpose, right? Mm-hmm. And so I like how you put it, it has to, the communication of the entire process and the entire purpose has to reach down to everyone on the ground. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Only then they will be playing a part in it, and they will see that, hey, all right, I may be playing a very small part, but I make a big effort in this organization's sustainability challenges and goals.
Totally agree. I totally agree with you, Rajesh. The part on how to get them to pay attention to this, or to basically see that there's value, is actually to celebrate them. So in my previous practice is basically we identify the data, the insights that they have, that they give. So you celebrate them as part of their KPIs and everything. But it's like, say, oh great, you did this, your numbers are like that, this is what happened from the previous year. And then they realize, oh, this is good. No, it makes me look good, right? And also when you make decisions, they can say it confidently, oh, we have a 15% placement rate. We can move towards a 17% next year by doing A, B, C, D, right? That level of confidence and that level of being able to show that value to them and reinforces their action, that basically that behavior, that they should be managing their knowledge. They should analyze it, play with it, look at it, and then see how can it help them make better decisions. So I think, totally agree. Getting the passengers on board, otherwise you're driving an empty bus, man. Right, to nowhere, right? So
exactly. and celebrating successes is always an awesome way to motivate the crowd. But then again, letting them know that we all don't have to bite a big piece of the pie. There is a saying, and I'm sure you're very familiar. My teacher used to tell me this when I was very young. It's in Malay. Sikit-sikit lama-lama jadi bukit, which means that whatever you collect little by little, in the end it will be a mountain. Right, and you can use it for anything, even for money. Yeah, you have a little piggy bank, and you save it. You'll get a ton of money. I hope so soon. Yeah. So it's to me it's the same. I really like how you connected it to people, technology, and of course process PPT. The KM community, we're also familiar with it. People, process, technology, right? But your introduction of how AI is going to come in to actually augmentate decision making is an awesome tagline that I'm sure many organizations are aware of. But if they didn't have it, they can use this tagline and embark on that sustainable journey, right? The sustainable KM journey. So, Faiz, thank you so much. Before we end, in your own words, right? Maybe 2 or 3 things that organizations should focus when thinking of their sustainable effort.
Okay, first of all, I would say I had a talk on this before. OI before AI. Organization insights before artificial intelligence or augmented intelligence. Because you first focus on what insights are of value for your organization first. So spare the technology, focus on the business, what you want to do first, right? Technology will come in to support you, right? The second of all is really you need really commitment, right? Top down, right? It cannot be a middle ground trying to push it through. Top down must understand the value of KM, right? In terms of ensuring organization sustainability, where you talk about keeping the people on board, right? Or even about making sure that the knowledge resides, or whether it becomes purposeful and so on. We need to kind of come from top down to have that understanding that this is what the potential of KM is. Otherwise, a lot of the initiatives will be just half a dozen, and it doesn't. See, the thing is, he always goes like, this is the insight, this is the what, and then this is what we're supposed to do, and then the guy says, good idea, and then they put it aside. So that's the key part on it. So and then I guess the third part of it is really it takes time. time is necessary for KM to work, right? You will not be an overnight success. You won't be like nasi lemak burger. The moment you like suddenly, everyone buys nasi lemak burger, right? And even then, nasi lemak burger takes a lot of research behind. So that's the part where I think the people need to give time for KM to really show its value, right? So three things: OI before AI, top level, top down support, and time. Yeah, so those are three things I would like to share with you.
Thank you so much, Faiz, for spending your afternoon with us and sharing with us your insights. You taught us, you gave us your insights on sustainability and KM. So, Faiz, thank you again, and I'll be catching you soon. Take care. Bye bye.
All right. See you.